Hey guys, and welcome back to another week of Autism Talk with Alex. Just an autism mom talking about life, the life and the adventure of autism. I have a little boy named Emmett. He will be turning 6 this year. He was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder at 3.5. So hey guys, I was going to do a day in the life this week, and I know that I posted that. But honest to God, it was a busy week and I did not have the time. So you're just going to have to settle with another audio, video, or podcast, or whatever you want to call it, from me. So this week, I wanted to talk a little bit about being different. Being different is not a bad thing. Sorry, I have the window open, so you might hear some cars going by. I find it warm in the house today, so the windows are open and letting that somewhat spring air in. There's snow on the ground, so I don't know how much spring we actually have. So I kind of wanted to talk today about being different. Just a little bit of a perspective of my journey as an autism mother and what being different has taught me through my son. Myself, I have never been someone who tried to fit in. I went through a very, very short period of doing that. But because of the mother that I had, my mother was always very encouraging about being myself wholeheartedly. And it was kind of driven into me from a very, very young age. So I was never one to follow trends. I was never one to look for name brands. Like, there's just a lot of stuff I'm not into. And I'm still not, and I'm kind of an odd duck, but I'm okay with being an odd duck. And so I kind of started there on my own road. But after having Emmett, I thought that the road was really paved before I had him. I thought that I really knew a lot about different until I had Emmett. And this isn't in any negative context at all. This is in a very positive, something I feel very passionately about. That I'm very much standing on a milk crate, screaming from the rooftops, really, really into the whole go with your own flow thing. So when Emmett was born and we went kind of through everything, I grew into motherhood and went through all the early stages. He was not an easy baby. He was colicky and different things like that. He didn't sleep until he was through the night until he was 4. There's all these little things that I went through, but I feel like it made us stronger. And I feel like things happened for a reason. All these things happened and it really made me grow. It really made me appreciate certain things more. And it is what it is. We all go through our own journey in motherhood, and that's what the early days were like. But he was so beautiful and so funny. All the really, really, really good, amazing stuff always overcomes the difficult. I didn't realize how different things could be until he was about 1.5 years. We were at a birthday party, and he was going to grab food, and people were giving it to him, and he was about to choke, and he would have choked. And I kind of slapped the cheesy out of the person's hand, and they looked at me like I was crazy. But now that I am sitting here now, these years later, I was not crazy. He would have choked. It would have been a scene because of his texture issues. And I didn't even realize it was texture issues at the time. I just knew what Emmett could handle eating and what he couldn't. And you're automatically judged when something like that happens. And I certainly didn't mean it in any form. I just said, he can't really eat that. And they said, well, why? He's a year and a half. How come he can't eat cheesy? Well, he just can't handle them right now. And it's funny how you actually get questioned about that. There's people who will be, and no judgment, but in all sincerity, there'll be people who will be giving their 1-year-old this glass of Pepsi and nobody says a word, but you say like, oh, like if you're worried about a texture issue and your child choking, somebody actually shoots up a voice and says something about it. I will never quite understand that, but that's another time for another story and more stuff on that later. But things like that, certain things like if you don't follow the mainstream because of what your child is used to and adapted to, if it's a little different, then it seems like you're on the outside. It seems like you're not in there. And I've never worried about being in there. The only part that actually bothered me was the unkindness of it all and the ignorance. It wasn't wanting to be in this circle. It was not understanding why there was even a circle. Why does the circle exist? Why do we need to fit in it? I never understood that. As Emmett grew and he was a toddler, he was always, we would go places and he would run to the books, and he never touched the toys at that point, and he just wanted all the books he could handle, and I love that. And those are the beautiful things about being different. In any sort of us on this earth, we are all made completely different. We're not meant to be the same. And I loved when we would go and he was 2 years old and he'd be running to the book section, and that was his different in those areas, and it was kind of magical and beautiful that he would do that. And there's nothing wrong with toys. We certainly have enough of them, but he was so visual, and he is still so visual. That is his personality. He likes images and sounds that he can even see. He likes seeing things in front of him that if you bang something together, he almost, I feel like he can visualize the noise in front of him. He can see the vibrations from it. And I could be wrong, but this is exactly what I picture, because he will bang something together or try and make some sort of a noise, and it will come together and he thinks it's amazing. Wouldn't it be kind of neat if we all lifted the veil of our own how we see things visually and open that door? It's kind of like having a third eye, I guess. Opening that door of seeing vibrations and seeing the colors brighter. And sometimes it can be overwhelming, and that's where sensory overload comes in. Sometimes it is too bright. Sometimes it is too colorful. But at the same time, the fact that he can see all those layers is really amazing to me. When you are going through this journey with your child, if you're an autism parent and you are listening, I encourage you to swim in that different ocean, to drink it up, to do handstands, to enjoy the fact that your child is your child, and they are not worried 1 second about what anybody thinks. And isn't that kind of amazing? Because I really wish I had that trait. I really wish I had that 0% of not giving, excuse me, but one hell of what anybody thinks. I know Emmett could care less. He likes what he likes. He does what he does. He's just content, and he's not worried what anybody next to him is thinking. He's not worried what the crowd is thinking. He is Emmett, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And I think that's why I have these bursts. I have this love for him, but I have these bursts of love that explode when I see those moments. If somebody is judgy, I think he doesn't see that. He doesn't see that bad energy. He just smiles and goes along with his day. And it doesn't mean he doesn't have hard moments, but his hard moments have nothing to do with what somebody thinks of him. I really hope that going through this parenthood train, I guess, with both the boys, that Samuel will learn from Emmett, that he will learn to be himself and to embrace who he is and to not worry about what others think of him in any way. This is what I hope for both of my kids, it's not just Emmett, but I do think that Emmett will instill that in Samuel, because Emmett is just, he's living and he's loving and he's laughing and he's enjoying his life without the worry of what somebody thinks he may do next, or what show he chooses to watch, or what color crayon is his favorite. He's not worried about anybody else or what they think of it. And I'm so bad that if I'm at the grocery store, I always think the cashier judges me for what I purchase. That's how bad I am. So that's why I say that I wish that I had a shred of what he has. A shred of that different, a shred of that not caring. I hope that as a person, if you are listening, and you may not be an autism parent or even know someone with autism, but that you look at the world and see us all as so diverse. But we are all beautiful masterpieces placed together and glued together with all these different pieces of ourselves to make ourselves. And every single one of us is beautiful no matter how we are put together. And I think that's the main message that I'm trying to say here. That if we do things a little differently, I think that we are just being ourselves. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. My son teaches me every day to look past worrying about what others think. And it's certainly something I have to work on. And I think I'll always have to work on it. But the point is that he has taught me to progress and go forward and work on it instead of staying where I'm at with it. This is why there's a chapter in my book called Magically Beautifully Different. Because I think it's magical and beautiful that my little boy carries that trait in him. That he does his own thing. And I think it's kind of a gift that he was given. I really, really do. From the bottom of my heart, I think it was a gift, because we live in a world today that everybody cares so damn much about what other people think. You can't post a thing on Facebook without somebody commenting on your holiday display and saying it's too little or too much. You can't post a selfie without somebody saying, "Oh my God, he or she posts a lot of selfies." We live in this world of judgment. And I am happily raising my oldest son who does not care about any of it. And that is what is magically, beautifully different about him. And I am sure, as a parent listening to this, you can name a list of what is magically and beautifully different about your son or daughter. And I encourage you to focus on that. So that wraps it up for this week from me. Just a little other talk. I'm hoping to do a day in the life episode soon, but this will have to do for now. You can reach out to me on Facebook. My info will be in this video. If you want, my book, Jump With Both Feet, is on Amazon. Not to put a plug in, but I just do it because I've heard so much great feedback and it makes me feel good. I'm certainly not an expert, like I say, but I feel like it's another way to open up the conversation about autism, autism awareness, and the beauty of being different. Thank you so much for listening, and God bless you all, because you rock if you are in this whole cheerleading factor of autism and being kind in this whole world. Because like I say, and I will probably say it every time, being kind goes a really long way, people. So I will talk to you next week, and have a great weekend.